All right. Thought-provoking, hard-hitting, unapologetic considerations for the mind. So as having an interesting conversation, I find it interesting at least. And I rather enjoy sharing those conversations and those considerations with you. Hopefully you don't mind. Hopefully you caught my previous message on I think I titled it multiple personality order as opposed to disorder. So this one is a bit controversial. What are your thoughts on polygamy? I've talked about this topic before. It is very controversial. It used to be practiced. And I contend that most of the elite and the upper echelon still practice it today, but they keep it under wraps. You know, behind closed doors. You know, they personify that they're married and, you know, have one wife, but all that's just acting. It's just acting. It's just for the camera. You know, it's just for the narrative. It's politics. Put on, you know, wear your character and wear it well, your personality character that is necessary to give the impression that you are the holistic American family, all-American family, through thick and thin, etc., etc. But I digress. Throughout the Bible, it is depicted that the fathers, the founders of what is known as present-day Christianity were all polygamists. Argue me? Deny it? Because one thing you might be able to do is you might be able to deny in the face of glaring obviousness, but what you cannot do is change what the scripture says, because guess what? I have it in print. And it is not digital yet. Well, it is digital, but it's going to be very difficult for you to fool the masses when there are Bibles that have been printed all over the world. So it is fixed. So if there is manipulation in it, which I contend there is, and I'm going to show you an example of a contradiction, you know, if in fact there is any manipulation, deceit, or what have you in it, it's fixed. So you got to keep towing the line. You upper echelon, you elite, you kings and emperors. See, the very thing that you used as a power move to subject the people is the very thing that also discredits your power. You should have waited. You should have waited till the digital age came to, you know, put it out there. But now you're trying to pull this Mandela effect and slowly change things over time and driving the people nuts, you know, because, well, why would they manipulate? It's impossible for them to manipulate the cereal boxes and all that kind of stuff. It's impossible. So we'll just gradually do it. So that way they think they're going insane. I could have swore the Berenstain Bears was spelled like this. Yeah. MK Ultra, mind control type stuff, you know. But I digress. You can't do too much manipulation in the way of the scripture because it's fixed. We all have Bibles in fact, those Bibles have been handed down from grandparents and great-grandparents. So it's very difficult to change the script, is what I'm saying, my point. So what you have to do is make different translations and obfuscate the meanings of words and play word art and be wizards, wise art, right? Using wise art to fool the masses, the great deception, etc., etc. This word means this in English, but it means this in a different language, or this transliteration, or what have you. You see what I'm saying? Sleight of hand. Mandela effect at its finest, y'all. Destabilizing the sentiment, the minds, of the people. I get it. Good play. Good play, said Leo Chuck. Good play. But this is the age of enlightenment. The gig is up. Therefore, you must destabilize the situation, the society now. You have to destabilize that so that we take our attention off of all the rigmarole you're pulling, right? The smoke and mirrors. But anyways, can't manipulate it. We see that Abraham was messing around with more than just Sally Mae. We can clearly see that all of the great patriarchs were messing around with all different concubines and women, including the kings, Solomon, and all the wives, and all of those greats. We teach, or you teach, these characters from the pulpit, and you take little pieces, extract little pieces in order to keep the people in line and give the people hope, or the perception of hope, but you don't teach the whole story as written, because you got to stay away from those nasty little bothers, because people might start asking questions. Well, if polygamy is wrong, wait, let's back this up. Do we follow Christianity? And what are the basic instructions before leaving Earth? The Bible, that thing that is our guide in this walk after Christ, Christ-like, right? Supposedly that's what Christian means, to be Christ-like, to do the practices. Oh, but let's find this last-ditch effort to explain away that which is not able to be explained away. Oh, let's just bother to come up with the excuse that, well, Jesus did away with all of that. Oh, he did away with that, but we're still teaching from the same scripture? So why don't we just stop teaching from the Old Testament then? If Christ did away with that, let's do away with that old pesky truism in the Old Testament then. Let's just teach the New Testament. Why would we confound everybody? Why would we make everybody confused, fused together with much heat and frustration? And you see what I'm saying? Why would we do that? Let's just do away with it, the Old Testament. Why are we still teaching from it? Oh, it's a type and a shadow. It's just an example. At one time, God winked at the sins of man. Oh, now God is winking at sin. That very thing that is the explanation of being, or the definition of being separate from God, himself, itself, herself. But he or she or it winks at it, excuses it. Why is God schizophrenic? Why is God schizophrenic? Why does he always, or she or it always get away with making something a law, killing millions of people for breaking those laws, and then changing those laws? Why is God schizophrenic? I don't know. I'm gonna leave that question up to you. You study to show it yourself approved. Be ready to give an answer. The only answers I get are anger, frustration, accusations of being a hypocrite, or not a hypocrite, but being angry. You're just angry because somebody in church hurt you. No, I'm angry. I'm not even angry. I'm incensed that you think, as the kings did, that you could play with my rational analysis, my intellect, and think not only that, but that you can further subject me in today. The gig is up. So let's go back to that example. Let me give you an example of the inconsistency. So if you paid attention to my Facebook page, in Proverbs, I think it was 16, chapter 16, verse 27. I'll try to post it in the description here. It talks about giving pledge. It talks about being a surety. You know, making yourself a slave to pay somebody else's debt. That's basically you're pledging yourself a surety. All right. Now, if you very simply, very rationally, very logically, if you look up the definition of the term, yes, I said term. A term is a condition set through a word, right? Created, concocted, constructed by a human being. All right. It can mean many different things based on the author or the individual's use. They determine what the definition of that word is. So, you know, you can have the word like. Okay? Like, I like you, or do this like that. So like has different meanings, but spelled the same way and sounds exactly the same. I think it's called an item sonen or sonen. Item sonen. Okay? That's game. And game recognize game. Pimps do that all the time. Smooth with the words, slick and sly like the connotation and depiction of the serpent in the Garden of Eden. Smooth and cunning, the most subtle beast of the field. But you thought it was a snake, right? Because you saw the term beast and didn't know that a beast also connotes a system. That's why it's called the beast system. But I digress. It's the characteristic that particular individual had in the legend of the Garden of Eden. It's not that it was an actual serpent. It's the personality, character trait, a slick, sly fox, if you will. You know, can sell ice to an Eskimo, sly with it, smooth talker. You see? Got it all wrong, y'all. Got it all wrong. Got it all wrong. All right, so with that being said, the scripture says don't pledge yourself as a surety. But yet you look up the definition of marriage, and I'll try to put a link to the post that I did in the description, all right? It says don't do that. But at the same time, we're giving each other in marriage. The father is pledging. You know, like a pledge in a sorority or fraternity or whatever it's called. Pledge week, hazing, huh? Blood oath, secrecy, deception. Giving her away. I'll be a monkey's uncle. It says don't do it. That's what the scripture says. So let me ask you this question. If we're not to pledge ourselves as surety or our children or whatever, then what did so-called marriage look like biblically? Yep, in the Old Testament. We ain't letting that go. You thought we were letting that go. No, we're going to hang on to that for a minute because we're going to dissect this and make it make sense. How can the same scripture tell you not to participate in bondage, marriage, suretyship? But then we teach in Christianity and the tenets thereof to participate in holy matrimony, aka marriage, today in churches. And we dress her in a white gown for the most part to symbolize that she's a virgin, which we know, oh well, she ain't no virgin. It's all a game. You know, doggone well, she ain't no virgin. Everybody in that room knows she ain't no virgin. When's the last time you went to a wedding and you know the bride? In fact, some of y'all know the night or weekend before she plays in her bride capacity what she was doing. Okay, I'll give you the benefit of doubt. Maybe she is a virgin, but her eyes ain't. Because at that bachelorette party, she was turning up, having a hot girl summer. Oh, she's anything but innocent. But anyways, we always put on that mask. We always act like, because the world is a stage. And the winners of the roles that we play and the characters that we put on are the bank. Those are the winners. The bank and the stores, that you pay $10,000 to play your role. Oh, you put on that mask, you put on that makeup. You're good at it. You sell it. And everybody in there is just going along with the lie. That's what marriage is. Oh, let's not talk about the civil union, the document signing that is registered down in the register of deeds, and they hand you out little certificates on paper. Huh? Yeah. All a facade. It's a show. They'll marry you right at the courthouse. They'll marry you right at the courthouse. Let's get this locked, baby, so that we know the possibility of them being successful. I don't care how long it is. Eventually, we're gonna get our cut. Why? Because you're gonna end up in the system when you do divorce. They're gonna get a large lion's share of the cut. When they probate your estate that you have in common due to this civil union. Oh yeah, they're gonna get a nice cut. All the way to the bank, baby. Play your role all the way to the bank. Benefit Caesar. Caesar is the state. Caesar wants a cut. Oh, and them pesky kids, as Scooby-Doo used to say, them pesky kids that you have as a result of that union, we're going to get a cut off of that too in our child support system, family court. Oh, we're going to get that cut too. Uh-huh. And he better pay. If he don't, we're going to imprison him. We're going to take away his driver's license. And then he won't be able to get to work. Well, we have Uber now, but that's uber expensive. You can't afford that every day. Huh? $20 to $50 every day? Add that up and then minus that from the check he gets at the end after you take 40% in taxes. Huh? And then if he falls behind or loses his job, all of those arrears add up. And then you're hitting him with R&D fees of X amount per paycheck. Sounds like a winning proposition, not for him, for her. Child support, or for the state, who gets their R&D fees, whether she cancels the contract, the child support obligation or not. They still, after 18 years, are still coming after him. But I digress. Let's get back to marriage, shall we? Don't pledge yourself. Don't become a surety. Check out the scriptures I got for you down below in the description. Let's set this all the way straight, shall we? Let's make it make sense. Yeah, I'm passionate about this. Oh yeah, I'm going to be on this. Because you know what? When we find the wizard, the professor that has actually been pulling the levers behind the curtains, and your little dog Toto goes and pulls the curtain open and you see, it's a politician. He or she themselves are practicing adultery. Bill Clinton, supposed to be the commander-in-chief. I'm in the military at the time, and they told us, as being in the military, if you're caught in adultery, you're going to Fort Leavenworth. Mandatory, I think it was 5 years at that time. Mandatory. But the commander-in-chief is the head of the military. Commander-in-chief. Did he do any time? Got caught red-handed behind the Oval Desk, or wherever the desk was. Monica Lewinsky, where you at? We ain't heard from you in a while. What you must be doing? You're probably making bank off of the books and every story you tell. Probably doing speaking for $1 million. Me Too type speeches. Where you at, Monica? We ain't seen you in a minute. Just quiet. Shh. You played your role? Yeah, that was the president, commander in chief. Didn't do a lick of time. Adultery, head of the military. But they're telling us, you get caught in adultery, without equivocation, 5 years in Fort Leavenworth, baby. Because we don't do that. You don't cheat on your wife. So in closing, yeah, the Bible talks about not pledging yourself as surety. Marriage, by definition, is a pledge. It is a suretiship. That's what you're engaging in, and it says ixnay on that. Don't do it. And so now we have to ask ourselves a question. Then what did so-called marriage look like biblically? Huh? What did it look like? Because the Proverbs is in the Old Testament. So the Old Testament says don't do it. So I'm staying consistent with the Old Testament. I want to see what the founding fathers of your so-called Christian religion, how they did it. Well, take a look. We can go from the beginning of the Bible all the way to the, so it'd be Genesis through, was it Malachi? Old Testament? All of them were polygamists. What were their wedding vows and ceremonies? Did they say till death do us part? Somebody please make it make sense. Fine. Did away with the Old Testament. This is the new Christianity. We're in the West now. That was Middle Eastern philosophy and teaching and doctrine. Fine. Then why are you picking pieces of the Middle Eastern doctrine to use to subject, including tithing, which you got completely incorrect? But that's a whole nother video upload. Why are you, and who's doing the picking? Who's choosing the little pieces of doctrines and things like that and leaving the rest of it behind? Who's doing that? Is that God doing that? Oh, why would God be picking and choosing from the Old Testament when allegedly Christ came to fulfill and that we don't follow the Old Testament anymore? Why would he be picking from there and telling you as a pastor, pick and choose for your flock? Oh, because we know that church on that corner that's claiming to be under the one true God, Yahweh, or whatever his name is today, and then the one across the street that's supposedly also apostolic or Pentecostal or Catholic or Lutheran, pick one. They all allegedly serve the same God, but the God over here told them pick and choose this standard out of the Old Testament. And the other pastor over here is saying, well, that same God told us to pick and choose this part out of the Old Testament. Oh, yeah, that outdated, that Middle Eastern tradition and doctrine. If we're going to follow the scripture, if we're going to follow the Middle Eastern or whatever they call Middle Eastern, Israel, whatever, then do it all the way. Why are you half stepping? Let's start sacrificing cows and calves and or whatever they're called, sheep and all that. Let's start doing that again. Oh, no, you're going to say don't. No, we're not supposed to because Jesus himself became the sacrifice. I get it. I know it all, baby. I've been there 40 years. Oh, you ain't gonna pull one on me. You're just gonna get upset because you ain't gonna be able to give an answer when you run up against somebody like me. Oh, just maybe, just possibly, my purpose is in that. I got drugged through 40 something years of Christianity. So today, when you try to pull up that smoke screen as the Wizard of Oz, I'm gonna be that one that takes it down, baby, because I know it probably better than you. Come on, Pastor, preach. I'm gonna sit right in your congregation. I ain't gonna say a word. We're gonna have a private talk. It's time to stop playing with the minds of the people, quit subjecting and using Christianity and all other religions to subject and subvert people. Let people live and love, not out of fear. The fear of Hades and hell. Ring a bell? All that, all those fictional, mythological teachings and doctrines of demons, deception. Stop. I'm coming for you, baby. I'm coming. Anyways, we can debate if you want to. I'm very confident in what I'm doing. Very much so. Try it. Anyhow, lastly, I want to remind you that the so-called chosen people, you know who they are, they go by a certain name that derived from Jacob in the Bible. Jacob meaning what? Y'all know, supplanter, deceiver, taking somebody else's, you know what, by deceit. So, not even going to go there. I'm just going to say it like this. How many wives did Jacob have? Oh, you mean, yeah, yes, that Jacob, the one where you got that name from. How many wives did he have, according to scripture? Rachel, Leah. Remember, he worked 7 years and his uncle Laban deceived him and tricked him into working 7 more years for the actual one that he wanted. But he still had how many? Polygamy. And out of that came many tribes. Case in point. With that being said, love you all. Thank you. Hey, we're going in. I'm going in. And I'm going to go hard. I'll talk to you in the next upload. Thank you. Look for these. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It's time for the unveiling. Open the eyes. You see the fire and the passion in mine? The scales have fallen off. Come on.